Yo, it's your boy Simon. I get this asked a lot. What are holidays like in prison? Well, there's a lot of mental anguish that happens during the holiday season. It's actually one of the most hardest times to come by as an inmate. Let's dive into it. Here we go. I still remember my first holiday in prison. My first actual holiday, like big holiday, was, I would say, Thanksgiving. This was in 2010, and I still remember being almost out of body at that point. I was still dealing with very dark depression. Still something I do fight with to this day. But it didn't even seem like a special day. Usually, when you're a free person, when you're a free man, a free woman, holidays come around and you can feel the festivities in the air. You can almost, it has a smell, it has a feel. Everybody's dressing up, there's a nuance to it. But in prison, it's just another day. The only difference is now everybody's thinking about how much they messed up, how much they miss their families, how much they wish they didn't do what they did. The regret, the remorse on holidays is tenfold. Now, I'm not downplaying it. I'm not saying that it's not remorseful on a daily basis for inmates, but holidays really bring you to that nostalgia of when you were free. Now, that doesn't go for everybody because a lot of guys in there, they've done I'm talking about numerous holidays in the joint. Me alone, I did 8.5 years, so that's a lot of calendars. That's a lot of that's a big amount of holidays. Now, back to my first holiday. I remember Thanksgiving. They brought out the trays, and it was like some kind of shredded turkey slop. And I didn't expect anything. I didn't expect much. I even forgot it was Thanksgiving at that time because I was dealing with so much stuff overall with my case that I didn't know what to feel. And it just passed by. After Thanksgiving came Christmas. They actually gave us a hat and a pair of socks in Cook County Jail. And the looks on some of these boys' faces when they got something. Because you got to figure, a lot of these guys never had a childhood. A lot of these guys never had anything growing up. One thing I learned about prison is to have compassion for others because you never know what kind of upbringing they may have had and why they act or do the things that they do. That's big. That's huge. That's such a major factor to not only put yourself at a peace of mind when arguing with somebody. You got to put yourself in their shoes, and I know it sounds cliche, but that really does help the larger picture. It allows you to gain that perspective. So Christmas comes around, you just see these guys' eyes light up when they get this bag of absolutely nothing. There's a honey bun in there or something, like a mini honey bun, right? Some socks, like a card saying Merry Christmas. But some of these guys made their day. Just their eyes were wider than I've seen since my whole time in there. For me, it was a culture shock. I didn't realize that this was it. Holidays are only special if you make them special. And in prison, when you're in there with just four walls and rust and metal and inmates you don't know, what's special about that? Absolutely nothing. I remember getting that bag. I gave it to some older gentleman, and he looked at me like, "Are you kidding me? Are you serious? You only get this once a year?" I'm like, "Man, take it." And he was the most thankful I've ever seen my whole incarceration. You could tell he was a homeless man. You could tell he never had anything. So that right there, it really does leave a memory with me because I could remember that man's face. Now, that's jail holidays. I spent about a year in jail. Now, let's go to prison. Let's fast forward. So prison holidays. Now, they're a little bit different, okay? In prison, you got a lot more freedoms. In prison, you build a lot of bonds because if you got a lot of time, you bit off other people, right? So you get friends, you meet guys that you can get comfortable with. So you meet guys that you can celebrate these holidays with. I remember on New Year's in particular, The boys made a 55-gallon bag of hooch. Now this thing was filled. Now, if you guys do not know what hooch is, hooch in the IDOC, in the Illinois Department of Correction, is homemade liquor, homemade booze. It's basically like a champagne stale beer tasting contraption. And what it's made out of is like yeast, so some kind of bread, some kind of sugar, and then you let it ferment for a couple weeks, depending if you can get heat on it, and you and the boys get drunk. Now, at this point, I was all over the place. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't see an out. I still had 7 years in front of me. I was losing hope. So, what better way to figure your situation out than drown it out with drugs or alcohol? And I remember drinking with the boys that one night. There was about, I don't even know, man, about 10 of us. And every single one of us had a cup, and it was just like a big family. We were just sharing our stories of back when we were free people, when we were with our families, with our friends, and it just felt special. It felt like, at the end of the day, people put a stereotype towards prisoners and inmates, but we're all people with families. That's it, that's all. So I remember doing this, man. Some of the boys actually made some stuff named suwoo. Now, what suwoo is, I don't know if this pertains to any other joint. I'm sure there's other names for it, but suwoo. Now, these boys would bring back their psych medication. They would put it inside the hooch. They would put all sorts of Kool-Aids, all sorts of coffees, all sorts of everything. They would boil this shit up in a hot pot. And it would be just a contraption like no other. The guys that were drinking this stuff were zooted out of their minds. You would see them beating on tables, hitting on walls, getting into boxing matches. It was off the wall crazy stuff. So once the boys got off their suwoo, you either get on your bunk, you just chill back, get a chess game going with your guys, get a card game going with your boys, depending on the holiday. Now keep in mind, this is all going on during New Year's. And you just let it go. You let it be. The cops lock down all the doors. The cops basically don't want any smoke. They let you do whatever the hell you want as long as you're not killing each other. They don't give a shit. So we're all on the deck at this point. It was a dorm setting, and all night people screaming, people acting as if they were free, people just enjoying life. And me being my first year, I couldn't understand, like, how could you be so content being locked up? But it wasn't that they were content being locked up. It was that they were making the best out of a bad situation. Isn't that the goal in life? To find some kind of positive. Now, I'm not saying getting drunk and getting boozed up is a positive situation, but making light of a situation that's actually traumatic, that's actually very dark in nature, which is being incarcerated, and having a little bit of fun in there. I had a lot of, I guess you can say, not fun, but I met a lot of guys that I had memories with. A lot of bonds, just a lot of camaraderie. I didn't think I could get that in the joint. I always had that stigma that everybody's a thief. It's almost like a den of thieves. Everybody's a shyster. Everybody's out to get you, but that's not the case. I still remember on one of my birthdays, this is way forward. On one of my birthdays, which obviously it's a holiday, the boys, they yoinked a bunch of strawberries and stuff from the garden. They manifested some kind of cookie cake with oatmeal cream pies, cookies, peanut butter, melted Snickers bars, all sorts of stuff. And they stole some candles that just so happened to be in the dietary, and they lit these candles. They brought this cake into my cell. They're like, yo, bro, happy birthday. And I had never had a birthday in prison that I celebrated. I never even told anybody it was my birthday. I didn't feel like it was necessary. I just felt like, not only that I didn't deserve it, but what was the point? And that day right there, I still remember to this day. I think that was one of my most coziest birthdays I ever had. Just the feels, everything was so genuine. For grown men to do that for you, just out of the kindness of their hearts, just because they mess with you, just because they vibe with you. I mean, it was a big deal. It was a huge deal. I'll always be thankful for these memories, because prison, it did have a lot of downfalls, more than not. but it did have its upsides. It's just a bunch of people, a bunch of humans trying to make the best out of a bad situation. And there's so much to prison. There's so much to dive into that it's crazy. Every single prison is different. Every single place has a different feel, a different atmosphere. There's so many personalities in there. You're bound to clash, but at the same time, you're bound to find somebody that you can vibe with, a friend. And my holidays, they started in prison, is something that I never even thought about twice, to actually looking forward to small things. Because you knew that the boys, you would cook a meal. Say for Thanksgiving, we ended up making meals every Thanksgiving as a tradition. We got our own little group. We had about 15 guys eating out of this meal. And just being able to just sit down as a group, as a unit, and eat together, work out together. I mean, it was something special. Now, this just covers some of the holidays. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys want to know more about prison holidays, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Nothing but love here. I also stream on twitch.tv/everyonekills. Come on through, come kick it. Once again, till next time, peace.